I'm going to call to order the Porter Siuslaw Commission meeting for November 16th. I think we're close enough to 7 o'clock. Second thing on the agenda is public comments. Anybody sign up? Apparently not. It's going to be a nice, quiet meeting. Financial statements. Commissioners. Any issues?
Well, it's the minutes.
Let's do the minutes first, okay? Commissioners.
No issues.
Anybody have any issues? Then they are approved by consent. Now what we can talk about financial statements. Everybody had a chance to look them over. See if there's any issues. If there are, Dina would be happy to.
Well, I don't have a whole lot to say about the financials tonight, but I did want to let you know that our auditor, Connie Huntsman from Coos Bay, is almost done with the audit. She was here on October 28th for her field visit, and a lot of my time has been spent working with her, getting her documents and financial reports. And I've also been working on updating the asset depreciation report, and I just got that to her yesterday. So she is planning on being here next month at the December meeting to give you a report.
Okay.
As far as the financials for October, the bills paid were in the amount of $94,278.72. I don't really have anything to report on the balance sheet or the general fund, but I am available for questions if anybody has any questions. If you turn to the capital maintenance report, I just wanted to mention that the third project we budgeted for, which is the fire suppression system underneath the wharf, did get started in at the end of October. So we don't have all the invoices in yet, but you will see an expenditure of $7,500 there. Other than that, occupancy was down for October. You know, we had a lot of rain. It's kind of a lousy month, so you know, we are still getting phone calls and people coming in on weekends. We're, you know, still seeing a lot of activity, not a lot of activity, but some activity in the campground. And if you haven't been back there, I really encourage you to take a drive through. This the staff has just done a great job back there. It's cleaned up. It looks great. So, are there any questions?
Commissioners? Apparently not, Dina.
Okay.
So the minutes are approved by consent. Item number 5 is to appoint an insurance agent of record, and we'll turn that over to the port manager, Stephen.
Yeah, thank you. It was time, every 3 years we appoint a new insurance agent of record. It was time this year to do that. We sent out 4 bids, received back, requests for bids I should say. We received back 4 bids, one from Wilson Hargood out of Eugene, who's our current agent, has been the current agent for 6 years. Full Heart Insurance out of Reedsport, Coastal Insurance out of Florence, and also Able Insurance also out of Florence. Dina and I met with each of the agents or their companies, the agencies, for 30 minutes to a half hour at the last weekend in October. We set out with some criteria. The criteria were experience with public entities and special districts, experience with ports, length of time in business, available resources, and proximity to Florence and the port. After reviewing all of the proposals and giving everybody, you know, careful consideration, I'm recommending that the port hire Able Insurance out of Florence. They have an office on the highway. Wendy Able came in. She made a very, very solid presentation. She had looked over quite a bit of port records, went out of her way to make some recommendations that, frankly, we agreed with, and things that we hadn't seen. Additionally, they have quite a bit of experience representing ports. They currently represent Gold Beach, Orford, and Port of Coos Bay. So that's our recommendation. The agents are paid out of our premiums. We learned that the agents receive 14% of our premiums, and that's paid by SDIS. So that's our recommendation.
Do we need a resolution,
A motion.
Yeah,
a motion?
yeah, it doesn't have to be, we just need a motion to accept the,
Was there a paper that, because I don't have anything in my folder for item 5 for this thing, was there?
no, there's not.
There's
It's-
not?
We just need
Okay.
a motion to accept or reject the,
I would like to make a motion, but first I want to voice my discontent with the process. I've sat through this process 3 years ago with the same applicants. I make a motion that we award the insurance contract to Coast Insurance Services.
I would second that motion.
Any other discussion?
Why?
I've sat through this process 3 years ago along with you and Ron. The process that was used this time, we never got to sit and listen to the three again. I remember the high points 3 years ago. I was a junior commissioner at the time. We were out overpowered at that time, Nancy, if you recall.
Well, you know, some of these things, I think, belong with the managing. We hire a manager.
Good.
Then why are we voting on it? If we're gonna vote on this, then we have a say in it. Otherwise, we need to change the process. Why are we having a resolution? Or a motion, excuse me. It's brought before the Board of Commissioners. If we're gonna vote on it, then we must have a say in it. That's how I look at it.
As far as I am concerned, everyone is entitled to their own opinions and can vote whichever way they want. I, for one, will back the manager, and since the Able Insurance is doing the Port of Coos Bay and several other ports, I think they have the experience to do it, and so that is my opinion.
So what is the motion, just to go with the port
No,
manager?
I put a motion on the table, sorry to
Right.
interrupt you. I've made a motion
Yeah.
to appoint Coast Insurance Services as
Right,
agent of
right.
record.
And Mike seconded
And
it.
the motion's seconded and it's open for discussion now, sorry.
Any other discussion on the motion?
Coast Insurance, I believe, has represented this port in previous years, so I do believe they have port experience.
I'm sure
I
they
believe
do.
they have experience with numerous municipalities as well. They're very local.
I'm sure they do. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, I guess we have reappointed Coast Insurance, our insurance agent of record.
So, Ron, for the record, there were 3 votes.
3
Can
votes
you-
for and 2 against.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next item. A resolution for the demolition of the fishing vessel Esther. Stephen?
yeah, okay, so there's actually three, we had to update the agenda a little bit. There's actually 3 resolutions here, all dealing with maintenance issues. The Esther, it's time to wreck this boat. It came in here in March 2015. I'm afraid that we'll have issues with it during the winter. It could break loose. Last thing we want is to pull this boat out of the mud if it goes down. The boat has significant hull issues above the water line. We spent considerable amount of time trying to figure out how to break this boat. I should say recycle the boat. How to recycle the boat. We considered repurposing it. We considered selling it. The people who wanted to buy it, anybody who wanted to buy that boat didn't know what they were getting into. And we were afraid that it would end up upstream and then eventually back here. So we got to the point where we need to break this boat. we spent a lot of time talking with contractors, talking to people trying to figure out the best way. Finally, we set up, came across, decided to break it up on the boat launch, and we spoke to a lot of people. We finally came up with a good proposal from Northwest Hazmat, who's going to drain the boat of the fluids. They have experience dealing with hazardous waste. They're out of Eugene, and we have their bid is eight grand to wreck the boat, and that's what I'm recommending that the port go with.
When are they gonna do it?
Sometime in November.
That's pretty short schedule.
It's taken us a long time to get here, but we want to put it down. We're kind of against the weather. We want to get it down sooner rather than later.
Might
So that-
help with the high tides you have too.
Yeah, that's definitely in the account.
Well, I move we approve resolution 111616A to demolish the ester.
I second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next.
The next resolution is repair of the Nopal lot. The gangway at the Nopal lot, it was Jason and crew built that 15 years ago. It's got rot underneath it. If you lean on the side rails, it's got give. It's got to go. So we originally thought we would do it in-house, but it just proved over the water, it just proved too complicated. We got 2 bids on this, and this was the lowest of the 2 bids. The other was from Billiter for $9 grand, and $9 grand and change. And so we're asking for a resolution to go ahead and get this repaired. We're still negotiating. We still got a couple of other little projects that we're working on with Oregon Marine Contracting. So we'll get this done, and we'll continue negotiating with them. So that's the plan.
Can I ask what the construction of the new ramp is?
Of the new ramp or the gangway?
The gangway.
Well, this is just for the gangway, not for the ramp itself.
Okay, I thought it was a ramp, I'm sorry.
No,
Okay.
it's the transition to the ramp,
Right.
which has got,
Understand.
it's got to go.
Okay.
So,
So what budget item is this coming from?
it'll come out, we've got $33,000 remaining in the facilities portion of the budget, and it'll come out of that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 11-16-16B to repair the Nopal Street gangway.
I'll second that.
Been, motion is made and second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It has been approved unanimously. Moving on to the third issue, a repair of the F-dock.
Yeah, I want to get the pictures up here. So we had a vertical log, a deadhead, lodge itself underneath F-dock, and when the tide went out, the log remained in place, but the dock fell down around it. There we go.
There it goes.
So that's what.
Wow,
Yeah, so the,
what a mess.
yeah. A mess is right. You can see the log here. That's the actual log.
Did it actually puncture the concrete or,
Did it puncture the concrete? It cracked the concrete. And it didn't actually puncture.
well, sometimes that concrete falls off, exposing the foam, and then
Yeah, here you can see that partially happened. I'm looking for that's where the big crack was. So here's where this is the log. and this is the flow immediately up from that. I can't quite see the cursor. So the, yeah, I'm just recycling through. So FDOT generates about $14,000 a year in revenue for us, that dock alone. We have a little bit of an insurance dispute with SDIS. SDIS is saying that damage due to water movement is not a covered peril. So I'm actually meeting with them tomorrow in Salem to get this worked out. But in any event, we got to replace it, regardless of what SDIS does. We put this out for bid. Biller, we had Biller to come out and look at it. They didn't come back with a bid. Oregon Marine Construction came back with almost a $14,000 bid, $13,960 I think it is. And so it has to get replaced. We'll continue to work on the insurance issue. But one way or the other, it's got to be replaced.
That's a complete replacement of that particular dock, right?
Uh,
Not a repair of the.
That's correct. We found a manufacturer who will still manufacture that dock to those specifications. And then the repair will be the adjoining dock and then the finger out.
Is that also coming from facilities?
Yeah.
So we're pretty much gonna come real close to cleaning that one out for the rest of the year, within $4,000, probably. Because
well-
all three of these are gonna come from that, facilities? I mean, that's fine, I mean,
right,
it's
I know.
just, we need to be
Right.
aware of
The
that.
way I'm thinking, right, I know. The way I'm thinking of this is that these are the projects that we have to get done. After that, I don't think we'll have any, I'm not really anticipating any big projects. I don't have any big projects on my to-do list going into the spring. So that's, just-
Unless we have a big flood in December and January.
or another log.
Okay.
But there's nothing, right now, there's nothing on my plate where I'm gonna come back, next month or after the first of the year.
We're gonna save whatever's left in case we need it.
Yeah, yeah.
What day did this happen? Because this thing in here says on November 17th,
Oh,
that's tomorrow.
That's it. We're, October, it was October.
October?
Yeah.
He's psychic. It's gonna happen tomorrow.
Well, we're good.
Pretty good pictures for,
Yeah. So we'll continue, we gotta get it replaced. We'll continue working with SDIS. I'll let the commission know how my meeting goes with them later in the week.
That is with new dock sections.
That's correct. That one, I'd have to, yeah, it's the dock section that split, that's new material.
Is that the only one?
I think the other two sections can be repaired. I should say, the other two sections can be repaired.
And that's what they intend to do.
That was the bid.
So they have to build this, Steve? They gotta build this dock? What's the estimated time?
I don't know.
Okay,
I
they'll be
didn't-
ready for spring.
Yeah. I think it's an inventory. I think I remember hearing it was in inventory up in Washington.
Do we have any dock pieces left from the 5 years ago when they bought all that?
They're not in great shape.
Okay, there's nothing usable, serviceable.
Not really. It's just out there. If we can rebuild something with it later.
Well, the main part of this is labor on this
Yeah.
project,
Yeah.
so I understand.
Yeah.
But maybe we can save a little by using one.
did this happen before we had the boom out there to try to,
It did. This happened
Or-
before the boom logs went out.
It probably would have happened either way, because it was a sinker.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that the boom. I don't think that the boom
couldn't have
logs
stopped it?
would have went under. It went under. As it happened, it was underneath the dock, so it
Oh.
would have gone underneath. It was floating vertically probably below the water line,
Hmm.
and that's how it got lodged under the dock.
Do we have a motion?
I will make make a motion that we pass resolution 11-16-16C to repair FDOC.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to repair FDOC. Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let the record show that it passed unanimously. Okay, item number 7, a mortgage review, rate review.
All right, so, as part of our ordinance review, we put a lot of time into thinking about the marina and the mortgage. And so this part of the presentation is informational only. I'm not putting forward a recommendation now. I just want to be clear, I'm not proposing increased rates. Just want to be clear about that. But I do want to talk about how we set our rates and what rates are around the state. So this part, the top part of the spreadsheet is what other ports charge for a 30-foot recreational vessel. So what you see is that Portland, their monthly rate, one of the marinas that I called up for Portland, charged, the monthly rate is $204. The semi-annual rate is times 6 is $124, and then the annual rate is $2,048. There's no discount. They don't discount the rate at all. So this number here is 0. There's no discount. They have perfect demand. Right? They don't have to set a discount to
For
bring people
advance
in.
payment or anything.
Or just to bring people in.
Mhm.
So, but then Toledo, their number is 62. So their monthly rate is $275. Their semi-annual is $903. Their annual, if they weren't discounting, would be $1,650. Their semi-annual would be $1,650, and their annual would be $3,300. So they're discounting 62% to fill their marina, right? So these numbers become, Astoria is the highest. They're practically, that's an 80% discount. Their monthly rate is $330, the semi-annual is $1,980, but their annual is only $408. It's crazy, but that's what it is. I know. Yeah. So right, I know. So their discount is 90%.
That's a recreational.
All this is recreational. No, I'll come down to commercial and us in just a little bit. But I just want to kind of like, we're only talking about the same boat, 30-foot recreational. So to my way of thinking, this annual discount here is a measure of desperation, right? The higher the number, approaching 100, which would be free, the more desperate you are to get boats in your marina, right? Because you're off of, this is how much you're discounting off of your monthly rate, right? So where we are is here. The average discount is 51%. We're at 46%. So and this is not actually a true discount, because for the West Marina, this is the West Marina, you got $15 per day, $75 a week, but that's only a 5-day week. That's not a 7-day week. If it was a 7-day week, it would be $105. Monthly is $206. So we keep discounting here. So here's, without the discounts, on daily rate would start at $15, $105, $420, $673 would be a 6-month rate, and $1350 would be a annual rate. So our real discount is closer to 73%. Right? If you these are the discounts. So, but let me just finish. What's making me crazy about this is that we're giving this, our marina is full 3 months of the year. So we're giving a steep discount when we're full, which makes no sense to me. Right? We should be
that's the benefit of having the annual rate. I
Right,
expect to pay cheaper than the guy
Right,
that's only.
right, that's fine. right, that's fine. Right, I don't have a problem with that. I'll come back, I don't have a problem with that at all. But there's a better way to do it than these kind of so the problem is that, like, here, you get the same services, but you get two different rates. And so we've had problems that come to the commission where people want to be in in West Marina because it's a little bit lower rate for the same services. So we're getting inconsistent results and inconsistent, we're treating different mortgage customers differently for the same boat. So it doesn't make, so I don't care what this number is. I don't care what the monthly is on any of these, as long as we're not ending up with a steep discount like this when we're at the point of our highest demand.
Okay.
All right, so I don't have a problem with a discount, so I really don't. But it needs to be a rational discount that is consistent between daily, weekly, and monthly. So, for example, if this was, and I'm not proposing a rate increase, but if this was 300, we just said, well, you're here for 3 days, 30, we give you a daily rate based on that, 3 days, 10% of 30. And so,
What two numbers did you divide into each other to come up with your percent?
it's always the monthly. It's always semi-annual, and I can show you, semi-annual, semi-projected, right? This is a projected number. If there was no discount, this is what it should have been. So it was this and this.
So you're still gonna come back with,
We'll still come back with a recommendation, but I
at
just,
some point,
yeah, we'll come back with a recommendation.
or a formula or something?
Right, but I wanted to introduce the commission to, this is the way that we're starting to think about things. So we create a more rational rate structure
Yeah.
that's a little bit fairer, easier to administer, both for staff and for the voters. So the other couple, let's see.
I guess I just see a problem in your you divide semi into the annual or whatever to get your 46%, but if I do that up above, those numbers don't jive. Why do you get a 0% on Portland if you're dividing the?
Right, because there's no discount. The annual rate, there's no discount. The annual rate
Okay.
is the same as the actual rate is the same as the projected rate. So there's no discount there.
They don't have to cut the price to fill the slips,
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I know, I understand.
so that's
that,
why.
but I'm trying to figure out apples to apples here, and
Well, we need to start bringing calculators.
that's why we have an accountant come. He should be able to look at them numbers and tell us.
They're right.
Thank
They're
you.
right.
Just tell me how you got them.
Well, it was just, here's the formula up there. Annual is here,
Okay,
divided by the projected.
okay, that's how you got your, okay.
Yeah, and
okay.
and that looks just that's about
Yeah,
right.
that's.
That's
that
about
does look right.
2/3
now.
of,
Now I
right,
see which two columns you're using.
right. So the only other, let me just,
Should be.
And you have
So
no
what's
problem.
that, 34% for commercial down below, is that
Oh,
what
okay.
that
Yeah,
was?
I'd like
That-
to see that.
yeah, that's how much we discount the commercial vessels. We give a 34% discount on an annual for a commercial vessel.
So they're full more often?
That's, I don't, what do you mean?
Well, I don't
It's
know, I
only
mean,
basin
that's,
that's got boats in it.
huh?
It's only basin that's got boats
It's
in
in
it.
it right now, yeah.
What constitutes commercial?
Okay, so, right, so that's, right, so we spent a lot of time trying to figure that out. right now, it's pretty much anybody who says that their commercial vessel gets a commercial rate. What we're gonna propose is that a commercial vessel is somebody who's earning their keep from their boat. So you actually have to be a
Well, that's impossible.
What?
What, earning your keep?
Well, at least mostly earning your keep. How's that? But no, but the point is that you're using your boat to generate money to pay your mortgage.
Not just have a, not
Not
just
just
have a
have a s-
license.
Not just have a license, not just come in and say, it's a commercial vessel, I'm a commercial vessel. If you're
You
commercial,
don't, Terry, you don't have to land fish at any port to maintain a license, a commercial
No.
fishing or crabbing license?
No, you can buy a commercial boat license for $25.
Right.
Oh, really?
and we have that.
It's not, maybe 125, but it's not, but just because you have a commercial license doesn't mean you can go salmon fishing or you can go crab fishing. You have to have the salmon permit or the crab permit. Albacore tuna permit's a gimme. I mean, it's $50 for 3 years, I think, or something.
Right, so we have too many tenants who have this permit or that permit that they paid, nominal rate for,
That they don't fish?
that they don't
Is that
fish,
what
the
you're
boat hasn't
suggesting?
left, the boat hasn't left the slip. We've got boats out here that have not left the slip in years, and they're still getting a 34% discount, because the commission wants to encourage commercial fishermen here.
Well, we
That's
do,
fine.
but we want them to fish. We don't want them just parking our slip.
Right, because then you're turning it into a parking lot. So,
Of course, I disagree. I want our ambiance. I want boats in our harbor. I want fishing boats out there, whether they're working boats or not.
Oh, I don't think we're trying to kick them out. We're just trying to make them pay.
And I think that's fair.
Well, that's-
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to some degree. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not suggesting either that we raise anything for commercial,
Yeah.
because one of our primary focuses is to increase
We are a
economic
port.
activity, and we
Yeah.
are a port.
Yeah.
But that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So that would be nice to come back with that.
right, and I'm not advocating, we're
I
not here to
understand.
advocating saying, no,
Understand.
we're just saying, let's figure out a way to do it that's a little bit more rational, than kind of, we've built in all these discounts and you end up adding them up and it becomes more than I think that was intended. So, all I'm saying is, let's come up with a rate structure that makes a little bit more sense without the discounts and without discounting at a point of highest demand. That's the point that's making me crazy. So I said a moment ago that I didn't really care what the monthly rate was set at. Our expenses to run the marina are about $94,000. A big chunk of that is the transient dock loan repayment. This number does not include labor. We don't track labor for the marina. I don't know how much time Jason and Tracy put into it. We don't save for future dredging. We ought to have an item for future dredging. We don't have an item for future dock replacement. In 20 years, they're going to have to replace. We ought to be putting some money away for it now. I wrote costs for marketing, but those are negligible. So So this number will go up. When we account for this number is going to go up.
Which one, the total income?
The one no,
Or
expenses.
94,000?
Expenses.
The 90, okay.
Yeah, our total income is about 100,000.
Well, when do we repay the dock loan? Transient.
Well, the wharf, not the wharf, I'd have to get back to you on that, I don't have that off at the top of my head.
It's a ways away.
I think it's.
At 46,400 a year, it's a ways away?
Yeah, it was a $500,000 loan.
Oh, it might be a ways away then.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was big, and it's nicely done.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to figure something out, because we're not gonna do much with raising rates. I mean, if the 94,000 doesn't even include everything, we're losing money probably then.
We're at about, give or take a little bit, we're about break even.
We're just gonna well, I don't know about breaking even, because I don't know that all the costs are up there, but the fact of the matter is, 102,000, we're gonna have to raise rates a heck of a lot to put anything aside for anything in the future. So revenue, we're gonna have to start looking for other sources of revenue, because that's not gonna work. We're not gonna fund anything by we're not gonna fund enough. Hell, that'll be eaten up with wage increases and insurance increases. Those are nickels and dimes.
There's
It's a place to start, for sure. definitely agree, but the numbers you're throwing up there, just to run that part of it is,
Declare a conflict and just shut up. Is this leading to the point where we need to declare a conflict and be quiet?
No,
No, I don't,
No.
no, not at all.
Not yet.
no, there's nothing on the table. This is
Okay,
not,
there's
this is
nothing. We're not
not,
voting on
this is
anything, no.
informational. This is
so we're not talking about
informational.
raising any rates, we're just, I mean, I
Well, it's
am,
been
I'm just
mentioned
saying.
a couple times.
Well, I know, I'm just saying that the numbers that you're showing at 94,000, which is still light, because we don't have any wages and no payroll taxes in
Right.
there, no one, no, all the stuff that goes along with that. We're probably at a loss. I know you're saying a push, but I'm saying a loss. So we're talking about, how do we cover all this? You'd have to raise the mortgage rates. You'd have to raise the mortgage rates a little bit
Double.
more than what we are even possibly thinking about to start doing things like putting money away. Okay,
And
well, that's
ultimately,
cool.
ultimately, that's,
We're headed that direction,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Well,
So, I'm not,
can I interject one
Yeah,
odd
yeah.
thing here? You're looking at $102,000 income, just from revenue collected. There's a portion of those taxes that are going there too, that we receive.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had $280,000 here, but, I mean,
Well, some portion of those taxes that we collect should go towards that entity and towards the campground and towards the blue building and, you know what I'm
towards,
saying? It'd make that
towards our
102
other
look a little bit
properties
better.
and- Yeah, darn little, but yeah, I think, yeah, I
Well,
would, yeah.
Maybe if it was 150, it'd look better to you.
It would look better if it was 500.
Well, I know, but I mean, that ain't gonna happen, I don't think. So, I'm not so sure that it's not as bleak as what we're looking at here.
Well, I think it is.
Not
I mean,
when
it's
I
not
see-
self-sufficient even anywhere close. I mean, we're just, it's a shoestring, so. I mean, it looks bleak to me, Terry. I'm just saying, it looks bleak to me, sure, it does. Because even all the costs aren't there.
That is, in the other hand, the costs aren't there, but not all the income's there, so.
Well, all the accountable income is there. We'd have to find a way to allocate the 280, or isn't that what it is, 280,000 is our levy?
And we've never.
The size of this
really-
district, we're at $280,000.
But we've never went through and said this much gets this percentage and this much should get,
If we could find a way to allocate it, that would be, that's a way to do it.
anyway, that was just my point, that it's not, that's a little deceptive on both sides, I guess,
It's still bleak.
yes.
part of what else we did was we're developing a spreadsheet to actually figure out what our projections are. So when if we do come back and talk about mortgage increases, we'll be able to project, what those will generate. And so what we did here is, these are actual mortgage, and this is actual versus what our projection was. So we're actually pretty close for our model. So we know that the model works, and I'll show that in a sec. These numbers are off because these are projections based on a maximum. Since ADOC and East Basin and West Basin are charged differently, we couldn't quite figure out how to get a good projection. So this is maximal. If all of the slips were full and you had boats in them that filled up the whole slip.
For the year?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, this is annual. Then you come up with about 40% more than what we're actually
You
generating.
could never get to those numbers because these docks will never be full year round.
Right. Well, okay. Right. Which gets me to the next point, which was the way we can't quite. Yeah. So this is it's a little hard to see. So what we did was we accounted for that. We took the historical occupancy numbers and we built a spreadsheet month by month that included actual occupancy numbers. So the projection, like you see in July, there's occupancy of 16%, August at 62%, September 95%. So we built the monthly occupancy rates based on the historical numbers into our model to project the rates. So, that's my presentation on mortgage rates. That's where I think we'll come back, obviously we're gonna come back to this. But I did wanna give the commission a heads up about where we were going and what we were thinking.
How many commercial slips do we have
About 50,
in recreation?
so it's about half and half. East Basin is recreational, West Basin is commercial, generally.
I like the idea of giving away donuts with their slips. The more boats we have down there, your income can be the same or a little bit better.
Okay.
But those people actually spend more money and time in this area while they're here.
So we've also been thinking a lot about how do we market. There's never been, I can't say never, but it doesn't seem like there's been a concerted effort to actually market the marina. You know, there's no specific marina marketing. And so the things that we're putting up with, or that our limitations are, you got a really tough bar to cross. There's no place to sail. I mean, you're gonna go to Mapleton. There's not like good sailing, good recreational sailing. No offense, but
Well, I was about ready to ask you what you meant by that.
yeah, I know.
but that's-
I could see it.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of tourist places to go if you have a boat down here. So I think where we're going, to accommodate the fact that the bar doesn't transit, that there's not a lot of recreational sailing here, is I think where we're gonna go, and I think eventually what I'm gonna recommend is that we try to create a live aboard environment. So we try to get people here on annual contracts who actually live aboard. They're here year round, they don't need to sail. And I think that's how we'll end up filling. We'll start figure out a marketing strategy to reach people who want to live on their boats. Under rate schedule. So I think that's where, I'm not committing to this, but I think that's where we're headed. So we are thinking about, we are actively trying to figure out how we get more boats in the marina.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I think you made that same offer to commercial boats too that would winter out here.
Yeah.
They don't have any place to go in the winter. They're sitting in their boat waiting for summer to tuna fish. They have no other thing to do in the summer or in the winter. They can moor up here for cheaper rates.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're also working on a, maybe a referral program, something where if you bring your friend up, you get a discount on a rate or something like that. So we're trying to figure out how to get more commercial boats up here as well.
Okay,
So that's everything you wanted to know about
okay.
marinas and moored.
Thank you. We'll take that all under advisement and await a resolution of something, or see something else in writing. Okay, we're going to move on now to item number 8, Commissioner and Port Manager reports. And I guess I can start with the Commissioner report and say that I've been out to several meetings in our community. I've been to the chamber meeting, luncheon program. Let's see, on the 12th, which has been last Saturday, I went to a class or a program put on by the Center for Nonprofits for the Rights and Responsibility of Board Membership at the Event Center. Very interesting. Maybe I can do my job a little better. I hope so. And then on the 14th, I went to the Oregon Coastal Zone Management Association membership meeting at the Hilton in Eugene. This is mostly politicians. I sat next to Jay Bozovich, and lots of ports there. Very interesting meeting, kind of short and sweet. And I think that's about the only events that I covered outside of the normal port issues. Nancy, you have anything?
Went to 2 city council meetings and Lane Act meeting this time it was not Springfield, it was off of Beltline. And when I found them, I was about 10 minutes late. and went to a Vision Florence on healthcare, and tomorrow is a symposium that I've been invited to at Yachats, and that's with ocean and preservation and with surf riders,
Okay.
and that's it.
Michael,
No.
David,
No,
have you been keeping an eye on the Sayus lot for us?
oh no.
Not anymore. In the last couple of months you were. How about you, Terry?
Nothing. Crab season should open as scheduled December 1st.
Okay,
We're all,
you ready to go?
oh yeah.
Good. David, do you have a report for us?
David doesn't, but Steve does.
Stephen, do you have a report for
Yeah.
us?
So Dina alluded to how clean the campground looks. We had inmate labor. We had 10 inmates for a week, and it was very inexpensive. They did a great job. They cleaned the railings. They helped with the fire suppression system, material handling. They cleaned out the campground. They cleaned out to the spoils pit. If you haven't driven through the port recently, take a drive through during the day. The grounds look really, really terrific. Banner, Dina and I met with Dee Osborne at Banner Bank. She believes that we can do better by consolidating our debt, and so we will be putting out some RFPs within the short time frame to see if we can get some better rates.
She said what? That she
Should-
thinks
but
if
we-
you go somewhere else, you could get some?
It,
She didn't offer?
they want the RFP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Well, no, we went in and asked if Dee's on our budget committee. We asked if she would do an analysis if we could save money by consolidating, and so we met with her, and she said, yeah, you definitely could. So we'll do an RFP to the local banks to consolidate our debt. The other two things I would just tell you about briefly is that I do have a meeting tomorrow with SDIS. We have two concerns. One is the FDOC that we talked about and the coverage issue on that. We also had an injury on the property last year, and there was a payout on it, and we don't think that SDIS did a very good job of adjusting the claim. So I'm meeting tomorrow with Frank Stratton, voice our discontent with the way that was handled, and see if we can avoid having our workers' comp rates go up based on their lackadaisical handling of this one claim. And that's about it. Next month we'll have, I haven't invited her yet, but I think we'll ask, there's a kind of a crazy program going on between FEMA and NIMFS, and you might have heard about that. NIMFS is inhibiting growth in the 100-year floodplain to aid salmon recovery. It's just crazy stuff. So I think we're going to get somebody here next month to address that issue a little bit more, because it will affect the port. All right, that's what I've got.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
What, I never seen a resolution for the little toy boat. What was it? I thought we were gonna get rid of it.
The bean?
Yeah.
We're getting, that was declared surplus quite some time ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been on the surplus list for months now. And when we wreck the ester, we'll take care of the bean at the same time. We tried to give it away, we couldn't give it away. So it's just time for that to go as well.
Another question I had was
Yeah.
that $8,000 bid by them, did that include the removal of the pollutants?
Yes, it does.
That wasn't 37 on top of that?
That's full
Okay.
full cost of it done.
I've got to ask that.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
it also includes transfer fees. The grant includes all transfer fees.
That's all I have.
Okay, I'm going to go to item 10, public comments. We will once again open the floor to public comments, be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. If anybody wishes to speak, now is the time to do so. Yes,
The city refinanced their debt, urban renewal refinanced their debt, and we got rates around 3%, which is
Yeah.
almost half of what we were paying. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna do something, now is the time to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Rates are down and I don't know how they can go any lower, but they
No,
keep doing it.
and it can't go on
Hope there's a
forever.
bottom and then we don't go too far.
Banner Bank can have enough money.
I don't know, I just
They,
financed my house with
now
them, they're
part of a
probably
much
broke.
larger bank.
They just loaned the city 12 million.
Yeah.
9.
9? Yeah, it was
Okay.
a lot.
Thank you, Ron. Anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up? Hearing none, I am going to close the meeting and at 8:50 and go, we will be going into executive session as per
About
7:50, okay, as
7:50.
per ORS 192.660 to discuss a real estate transaction